have Andrew Bowden online, and we did get an extra email with the missing piece about the Cook speech yesterday.
Not Andrew Bowden.
No, that's not.
It's Ed. We've got Ed, but
Okay.
we might have Andrew. That's not Andrew Bowden.
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 It's another funny one to pronounce for you, Chrissy.
I'm very bad with names. Okay, I'll get there. Okay, so we've got the Mercury Bay Community Board receives the Mercury Bay Community Board CAPEX work program 2022 to 2023 and other operational information updates reported dated 11th of January 2023. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mover, Deli and Bess. Does anyone have any questions?
Have we got someone speaking to it?
We have Andrew.
We've got Andrew, but he just hasn't come online yet. So just sending messages asking them to
We are chasing Andrew.
chase him up.
Chrissy, would you like to do Ed's report until we find Andrew?
Sure.
No worries.
As the Mercury Bay Cycleway Development Project Report, item 4.2.
Okay, so we're moving on to the Cycleway then.
And we're going to come back to this.
Yes.
So we'll go with the Mercury Bay Community Board receives the Mercury Bay Cycleway Development Project 2022-23 report dated the 26th of January 2023. Do you want to think of the second part?
Yes, 3 attachments as well.
You would just ask for mover and second to receive the
Yeah,
report.
okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder to receive the report?
I'll move it.
Ellie
I'll second it.
and Peter. Does anyone have any questions or discussion points?
I was really interested in, I think Anna did a great presentation, and I think I've made it very clear that I'm really keen to see the gold standard on this applied. So I'm going to start the process there, and I'll go with the 3 point. What's 3.1 or 2?
3.1 is the gold standard.
Yeah, because I'm really keen to see us from here go and look for some external money and have the gold standard implemented across the board in cycling.
And I, through the chair, would like to totally endorse what Councillor Griswold just said.
Through the chair, I'm rather I have to disagree and say thank you very much to Anna for her presentation this morning. But I'm afraid that I must differ, and the reason is that I can't see the need for the cycleway in all the information supplied by council. I can't see any stats or info showing that Whitianga actually needs a dedicated cycleway. Indeed, just the opposite from the public consultation shows that over half the respondents were not in favour of the cycleway or looked for further options in relation to the cycleway. Not saying that they would accept the other options, but they were looking for other options. Then the other stat that we've been supplied with shows that in the 10 years from 2012 to 2022 in Whitianga, there were 15 incidents involving cycles, of which only 2 were serious, and the rest were of lesser seriousness. So from the stats and the evidence that that's where I'm afraid I have to disagree and say that I'm unable to see that there is a need for dedicated cycleway as outlined in the report.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Any other comments? 68 showed a preference for a cycle lane in some form. So through the chair, may I ask Peter a question? Yes. So if this report says that 68% of people showed a preference for a cycleway in some form, how is it do you come to the figure that less than half? Sorry, what was the comment you said that?
Approximately half.
Yeah, so the report says 68% show a preference for a cycleway.
In some form.
In some form, not in the proposed cycleways. There was quite a large number of respondents that they didn't want to see a cycleway, and there was quite a number that said, please give us some other options.
Yes, for the consultation, they did only show the options that were on the road. The option that we're talking about, the shared pathway, wasn't an option that they could choose from.
Right.
So this is the alternative option. We do have Ed online as well. Ed, do you have any comments?
At this time, no. The report submitted stands. The actual number of people who did not express an opinion or who were against the cycleway was a considerable number, as we noted in the report, and the equivalent of those that would support the cycleway in its current form. I would still suggest that the cycleway could be a thing that could be considered by council or by the community board, but potentially as part of a larger programme. And that, as I said during our workshop, could be something that the councillors and committee board members may wish to consider as a possible alternate resolution.
We pressure test option 3.1 or 3.2? Yes. Via a vote? Yeah. May I suggest that?
So through the chair, just reiterate 3.1 is the gold standard, which is on the opposite side of the road. So it's a dedicated, we're calling it a cycleway, but as Anna pointed out, the scooters and skateboards.
So shared. Sorry? Electric bike.
E-bikes. And we do have an existing shared pathway along the waterfront, which is working very effectively in the Hobben Pass. And I think, you know, that messaging around share with care and using a bell and things like that, it might be more palatable to go for the shared pathway simply because the cost, which is 3.2, because the cost will be lower. As Ed has suggested to us, if we can get this one section done and show we have a commitment to pathways, then the funding that's available for tourist pathways and connectivity, even to the point where we might be bold enough to suggest that we might want to bike to Hahei or Cook's Beach. If we can do this strip and facilitate the children getting to school safely, we've got a bit of leverage to say this is something that we'd like to progress wider. And if you look at towns like Napier and see that cycling is a tourism bonus, even more and more people are cycling. This section, don't lose sight of it being road safety for the children. Even just anecdotally, people in Cook Drive don't loosely parking, they're roadside parking, and they're a bit fearful about that. So if it was a shared pathway, to get the kids right off that road.
Yes, and I just wanted to add, sorry, to Delia's comment about some of the discussions we had at the bike park and sort of cycling and what they're wanting to establish there, and in this becoming, you know, and the work, some of the groundwork exists. The cycle strategy steering group created some sort of wider plans and things for how this can be extended. So I really see once we get this going, we go and task staff, we're looking for some external money and moving this wider across our ward. And let's not forget, this has been sort of 6 years in the workings. This, you know, it's been through an LTP, it's been through an annual plan, it's been more than this one consultation. So I guess are you been suggesting we go for option 3.2? I said 3.1 initially, but are you suggesting 3.2?
Through the chair.
Yes, John.
Look, I appreciate how much time and effort has gone into this over the years and how much input has been provided. You know, where I stand on this at the moment is that I absolutely support cycling. I think it's something that we should be encouraging within the community. The issue that I have with this is we have some funding for this at the moment. I think there's about 60,000, somewhere in that order.
It's more than 100,000. Ed, can you just tell us, is it 140-ish?
113.
So how much had been approved and set aside? I think the cost for this is 138,000 estimated. So there's a shortfall, was the point that I was going to make, that would have to be found. And I also think that this is a change to what was actually consulted on to the public. And because the last one was not absolutely clear as to whether there was support or not, I believe that if this was to proceed, then we would need to go back and reconsult with people in regard to this program. So, you know, I am of a view that I believe more work needs to be done before we can clarify it. Personally, I would like to explore the avenues of what additional funding we could get and have a look at that options around a wider and longer cycleway that could, you know, cover a larger area that more people could take advantage of rather than this particular location.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I'm along the lines of what John has just said. Because I'm just not so sure that the community would be happy with expense towards the cycleway. When Ed was talking to us, he was kind of about an overall district plan of cycleways for recreation. And that was sort of elaborated on a bit by the visit to the bike park. But I just, I mean, if there was going to be one, then I would be wanting to utilise the 3.2. If there was, okay. I mean, yes, the gold standard would be brilliant if we're rolling in the money.
Yeah.
But
Never are we? If you want to put the motion forward.
All right, well, I think why don't we pressure test it with a
vote.
putting the motion forward
Okay.
of 3.2.
A shared pathway on the
So
existing.
you would just read out what that is there.
I just also like to say I do support the idea of further consultation with, because I'm aware that a lot of things sort of go under the radar of the general public and then they go, oh, how did that happen? So whether it needs to be really broadcast. This really see if there's a huge support for it or if it's a minor support. Maybe some other ideas can come out of it. And yes, I understand that's already done.
Okay,
We've already done.
we'll take a vote on whether we want 3.2 to widen the existing footpath on Cook Drive. All those for.
So, sorry, just to clarify, can I understand exactly what the motion is? Could someone read that for me?
Saying,
Yeah, to put option 3.2, widen the existing footpath on Cook Drive.
And how would we fund that?
We have 2 years of budgets would have to go into next year's budget, but we've got the available funds. So the cost of is 138,000 estimate, and the budget we have available was 113 for this year, and then 180 for next year.
Would you like to opt in clarity?
Sorry, you were breaking up there. Could you repeat that, please?
The available budget we have for this year and next,
Option.
just in general.
Yes. Sorry. Through the chair at the moment, my understanding is that there is available budget for option 2. Yes, for the 3.2. But that would be over a 2 year. So what would probably have to happen is the works would not be undertaken this financial year. The budget would for this financial year would be carried over, and the project would then be done early next financial year in one hit.
Yeah, I'd support option 3.2.
Anyone else for option 3.2?
Really.
Vote. No.
Oh, I'm doing that.
And I support option 3.2. So, show of hands. Opposed?
You're in a pretty exciting position today.
Okay. Well, I'd like to go ahead with option 3.2. To get the ball rolling, I think it's important that we start this Cycleway strategy.
So through the chair, you're using the chair.
Yes.
Please vote.
Heather and Chrissy, can you just confirm the for and against totals for me, please?
So for was 3, Deli, Rika, and myself, and opposed was 3.
And you've used your casting vote?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Could I please have my vote recorded as against?
Yes, we can record your vote as against. Is everybody else want their vote recorded as against?
Peter
McKenzie.
and Caroline.
Right, okay, thank you.
And Gina, can you please put that Bess abstained?
No problems, I'll have that down.
Okay. Well, that was already done that.
Gina, is there anything else that we need to do on that one now from closing that off for Chrissy? She's used her
For now,
casting.
you just need to say that the motion is carried because Chrissy used her casting vote.
The motion is carried. So do we have Andrew back now? So we can go back to 4.1?
Yes, Andrew is online.
I'm here.
So we've got the Community Board CAPEX work program. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew?
Sorry, I'm just
Through the chair, hi Andrew, lovely to see you back on board, and pleased to hear that your wife is a bit better. We've been very worried for you both. You've been through a bit of a tough time. And now, sorry, I'm going to ask you some tough questions about refuse transfer station and the hold-ups. So can you give us a bit of background on that?
There we are. Thank you.
You're on mute again, Andrew.
Right. There we are. Thank you for your kind words, Deli. Refuse transfer station has been hit with quite a few delays and problems. The design was finished in towards the middle of December last year. We have a peer reviewer on board at the moment who's working with the new solid waste contractor, Waste Management, to do a peer review report that will be issued mid next week. Okay. as you know, there's been a lot of wet weather in the area, and consequently work on site has been halted, and hopefully with the good weather coming now, it'll restart. The budget that was set at the beginning of, before the existing LTP, was, I think it's about 2.8 million. We will need some more money, but at the moment, I am in the throes of coming to terms with whatever comes out of the peer review report, and then we will carry out a value engineering study with the contractor and the designers to challenge all the design elements and to try and bring the project to a reasonable budget. As you know, things have increased in price, fuel, transport costs, and through COVID, we've had some other issues as well. I'm not painting a very good picture of the project at the moment, but the action that we intend to take probably in the next couple of months will address all the issues that we're aware of and then bring the project back on track. Does that answer your question?
Just before Councillor Percival asks her question, will you be disseminating the information from that report when it comes?
Yes, I will. Through the chair, yes, I will. I need to see and understand, what the potential changes are to the site without compromising the original design content that was put together probably about 3 or 4 years ago. One slight issue is that when the gestation of the project started, we didn't have a solid waste manager on board as staff. Approximately just over 12 months ago, Anna Stevens came on board, and that was as the solid waste manager, and she came up with the layout that we are working to now. So we do have a realistic design at the moment. However, we need to make sure that the money that we're going to spend on the project is is sufficient, and also has been challenged to make sure we're getting the best bang per buck as what we're building.
Thanks, Andrew.
Rika, through the chair. Rika, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I do. Thanks, Andrew. Through the chair. Why are we should be in the construction phase and we're now having our design peer reviewed?
It should have been done. Well, originally, the original design consultants, Harrison Grierson, were kicked off the job probably about 18 months ago because they were useless. Okay, so we employed WSP, who designed a refuse transfer station in Tokoroa, and we used them. The peer review at the start should have been probably carried out, I would say, probably 3 years ago, to be truthful, but it
We're in the
wasn't.
construction phase and we're peer reviewing our design.
Yes, we are.
Next question is our $2.8 million, which you're now telling me that we are short for this project.
Yep.
Again, wouldn't we have been pressure testing against some of these costs well before design, well before construction?
Yes, definitely.
So that didn't happen. So there's two things in this project that didn't happen. The other thing that I'm looking at now is that you have a delivery date in our CAPEX program of December 23.
Yes.
Now, I understand we've had poor weather and I understand that we've had COVID, but that is a significant project delay.
I have no comment to that.
Okay, I am feeling nauseous.
All talk and no action.
There's plenty of action at the moment.
So under your red, which is major issue requiring attention.
Yep.
You've got procurement of the following items has been completed, but it's still showing red. So we're talking about a site building, a compactor, we're talking about weigh bridges, number plate recognition, equipment for the recycling area. So has that been completed?
Yes, it has.
So
It
that's
has, and red indicates in general the status of the project. So all those items have been procured, okay? And we're waiting for them to come to site at the moment. We've put them off because of the delays, but they are there and they've been paid for.
Okay, may I suggest that we have a meeting with the CEO and the councillors and the project managers on this?
For what purpose?
To just sort of further understand, we've got some significant issues here. We've got construction and earthworks underway, but
Yep.
are we pausing and peer reviewing?
Yes.
We're pausing the existing construction and earthworks?
No, we're not. We have some items, Rika, that are within the design that we could either not do. For example, the structure above the recycle area, that is, pardon my French, but up for grabs at the moment and under review. The project itself doesn't comprise a lot of elements. We've got the three waters work, we've got electrical work, we've got the compactor, the two-way bridges and the office area and the roading, okay? And yeah, that's where we are at the moment. So those items have been reviewed at the moment. Having the peer review is somewhat late in the piece, I agree with you, but at the moment action is being taken and will be to bring the project to a how can I put it, a value for money conclusion.
Well, I've got some real concerns because you're telling me we've got a $2.8 million budget here and we've got a significant shortfall. So we're going to be looking for some more money.
Correct.
We're about to go into an annual plan process. So shouldn't we be sort of having a level of understanding? I mean, we can have this conversation online or we can pick up with the CEO and take it offline. It's up to you.
Through the chair, could I just suggest, I think what Andrew's saying is that there is a lot of it is in train and there is some parts of the build, in particular it's the roof structure, isn't it, Andrew, is one of the ones that we're reviewing.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I think probably what we could do is provide like a briefing note. And
that's what that document should be in our.
Yeah, I'm more for some briefing note that we can circulate and then we can have a discussion with the project manager and the CE to go through it.
Yep.
The CE and the mayor are fully aware of the issues on the project.
Okay. Well, I'm just really concerned that we now have a delivery date of December. I mean, we were supposed to be getting ready to get in there in the next couple months. That's a huge time frame, and all of that extended time frame also adds cost as well.
And I think through the chair, you know, the review of the designs as well is quite worrisome, you know, with the work that's going on at the moment. So
through the chair, Andrew, can you just clarify when you're talking about review of the design? You wouldn't say it's a significant change to the site plan?
Well, you won't know.
You don't know.
You never know what they're going to come up with.
I have discussed it with the peer reviewer and I know that they are talking to the new contractor about how the site will operate when it's fully in operation. There could be, in particular with that structure that Lorna just mentioned, that could be either staged or the completion could be staged as well. at the moment, all I can say to you is that action is being taken to rein in any costs that we do not have to incur, and also to identify increases in cost throughout most of the elements. Fuel costs and transport costs are significant, the increases, as you all know. When you fill up your car at the petrol pump, they do affect the final cost. So we're looking at those at the moment, and they should be no surprise to anyone.
So what, through the chair, what I'm suggesting is that we put together a full briefing note and we arrange a meeting with the board and the mayor and CE and the project manager, and we'll go through that. So we'll undertake to do that. I'll talk to the CE today and see if we can get that in the next week.
Very timely, please.
Yeah, thank you, Lorna. That's great. Thanks, Andrew. Through the chair, I've got another one.
Yeah.
There's a red next to the Brophy's Beach Coastal Protection Renewal.
Yep.
So it does say, though, it had been deferred till next year. However, this decision has been revisited in the light of recent sunstorms. Have you got insight into that one, Andrew?
We have a new, excuse me, we have a new project manager, external project manager appointed recently, who will be taking up this this project. Our previous, this casual protection. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I was thinking about the other one. No, I don't know too much about that, Delhi, but I can find out should you wish, and I'll email it through. I'm not on top of this as it's being managed by our coastal scientist.
Okay, cool. So I might flip Jamie an email.
Yeah, I think he's probably the best person to respond to your question, because he would be the person I go to.
So I've got one more on here, which might be more for the area manager, and this is the gold card for the city and the ferry still being green.
Yeah, nothing to do with me.
My understanding is that I was dismayed to see Marguerite Mueller's here again today when there's, my understanding is there's nothing we can do about that gold card. So why is it still on our action schedule?
So through the chair, after the last meeting, after that meeting, there was some discussion on the public forum, and the direction that I took from that was that members of the board wanted that to be reviewed. So that's hence the reason it's been put back on, and I'll go back over that process, go back over the legal opinions and present that to the board once I have that all clarified.
So I have a question about that, which I was going to pick up afterwards, but because I saw the correspondence that went back to Marguerite, I don't recall that direction.
It was certainly part of the conversation. I'm happy to not do it if that's the case, but that was a conversation after the last meeting, was about how we help that and progress things. And I think that pretty much all I could do was to review what we had already looked at.
I think I would agree with that. I think in general discussion, there was a view that we need to find a way to make some progress on the issue. I don't know if there was a specific plan apart from looking back over the history to understand a little bit more.
So what I had planned was to literally, John, thank you, was to go back over what we had done in the past, see if we've missed anything, see if there's been any changes, relook at the legal opinion, and then bring that back as a briefing to the board.
Yeah, look, I think it's something that we really need to put some focus on, because there, to me, there's just a great inconsistency with why there isn't any gold card benefits, in the area. The money should be being passed through from the regional council. So, I think it is worth further exploring, or at least understanding why that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. So
Could you give the explanation now about it being a private versus public?
I can provide a little bit of the fact that at the moment the ferry is contracted to council to operate a ferry, to operate the ferry transport business from ferry landing to the Tianga and back. There's actually a Gazette notice that puts it as a specific route through from those two. For Waikato Regional Council, and this is very generic because I've had a legal opinion and different stuff as well. For Waikato Regional Council to put it into the sort of gold card the same way that it works for the buses in Hamilton and things like that, that ferry operation would have to be contracted to WRC. And so there is cost implications of the contract versus if it was with WRC, the use of our wharves, there's a lot of moving parts to it. So I'd like to, if it's okay with the board and through the chair, just put that into a document that we can all step by step see what's there, what the issues are, and where it lands in the end.
So through the chair, I expected that would be, something along those lines, but, I still say that there's a great inconsistency where those benefits are provided and have been said as a policy of central government through the regional council, but it's only ending up in certain places that receive the benefit, and that is just wrong to me. And we need to find a way of seeing how we can leverage it. I suspect it's to do with how the rating is actually done that creates that funding.
Possibly, I would need to read.
It might be localised in certain areas where the benefits are provided, so there could be implications, but it would be really good to understand that and try and see if there's some way that we can bring some of those benefits here.
Thank you. And in my previous conversations with Waikato Regional Council, with their transport people, it has been very generically that this is what we do for this and this is what we do for that. I never drilled down into the rating. So as part of reviewing it, I will drill down into how that's rated as well for them and us and what the cost implications are. So I'll be able to bring that back. I'm anticipating bringing that back in April because I've got a little bit of going around.
Through the chair, can we just formalise that so it's actually noted in the minutes that that's an action that will be taken, that we'll have a report on that at the next meeting? Is that
going to be a networking?
Fair expectation?
I was just going to brief the board on it prior to doing a formal report.
Okay. So a briefing will be presented.
A briefing will be presented.
Right.
Through the chair, we can put that on the action schedule. Heather, I'm happy to work with you on that.
Thank you, Jenna. It's already on the work program, so it can stay
no problem.
on the work program at this point.
Anyone else can speak? I know I've already, but I've got a couple more questions. But someone else.
I was just going to say, I may not have understood correctly, but maybe Heather, if you're drilling down to find about the rating, does that mean therefore the cost goes on to the ratepayers?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would have to ask regional council what that looks like. I don't know how their rating system works.
Yeah. No, I'm just hoping it wouldn't, because then in effect rates are paying it and therefore we're paying for it anyway.
That's what I would have to look at
And
in
which
that review.
kind of nullifies the gold card.
Right. Couple other things from the work program. Arlingham House, hurrah, it's gone. Is there a plan? I can't see in our work program anything to dust seal or create car parking out of that space like we'd originally discussed.
No idea.
Through the chair, my understanding is we're putting the fence up at the moment. That's been built yesterday and today, and the intent is to remove the shed to the skate park. That was part of that project.
My way park.
Yeah, sorry, skate park.
Yes.
You know what I mean, multi-sport park.
Yes.
They haven't been able to do that initially because of the business of removing the house. Once that's gone, the site will be levelled and in some form, I'm not sure whether it's grass or gravel, but turned into a temporary parking site. John Muston is in charge of that project, and I can find out more about that.
Yeah, it would just be really good
But that was
to
in-
get it done.
That was intent as far as I'm
Yeah.
aware.
Yeah, perfect. May I continue? Yes. Real shame that we didn't get to have the summer concert this year. I'm assuming going forward it will move to Sheriff Block. Is that
It will, it will.
so? Next year we'll be ready to have it at Sheriff Block.
Yeah, absolutely. Weather delays last year and most recently has affected the progress on the Sheriff Block. I will have an updated report for you for next month's meeting. But as you can probably imagine, work has really been hampered by the wet weather. But yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, perfect. And one more if I may. I see on our work program, and it has sat there for some time, the Hotwater Beach bus parking. And I know we have Gary in the room and he's been talking about that. But I just wondered, it sat there for some time, it sort of sat there as green. It's something we've certainly talked about for the last 2 terms. Can we move forward with that and really look into that and get an answer for these folks one way or another? That's just my plea. I know they keep coming back and talking. Very, very great organisation out there working, but it would be really good to just be able to draw a line in the sand and give them some steer and direction.
They staff are reviewing options.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of set like that.
Yeah,
for-
I'm just
It's been like that for a while, and I'll put my hand up and say that I have not progressed that. But it's still on my to-do list.
Okay, well, is there a way that we can prioritise some of that to-do list?
I'll take that on board.
Thanks.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions?
Okay. The community board receives the Mercury Bay Community Board CAPEX work program 2022 and 2023 and other operational information updates. Report dated 11th January 2023. All those in favour say aye. Opposed? None? Carried.
What are we going to do in the second one?
Yeah, we already opened it like
Is that-
before. Yeah.
I was open, it was. when we didn't have
The
Andrew.
first time.
Oh, we didn't have Andrew.
Okay, so we'll move on to item 5.1, the action schedule. The Mercury Bay Community Board receives the action schedule report dated the 18th of January 2022.
So Emma's just come back and said, come over in a seconder.
No, she said who was it?
I'll move it.
Was
Can you
John.
second it?
Yes,
Awesome.
and Rika.
yeah, that you know.
Yes, thank you.
Does anyone have any questions on this?
On the action schedule.
Yes.
The silver cart, sorry, I've got Kalupa on the mind. Says it's been moved to other information updates on the work program. I don't see it in the work
We've got
program.
an email.
So,
Oh,
Through the chair, apologies, it fell off somewhere along the way, with technology. I did send an email yesterday with an update on that item.
So my next item would be the bollard installation or bollard holder installation. Okay. And I've had correspondence from the chair of the Ratepayers Association, Penny Clayton. And she's saying that the only meeting they've had was in November, so they haven't had a January meeting as requested. She went straight back to Derek saying that they couldn't support the bollard being erected seasonally without more feedback from the community, and she proposed a public meeting at the end of January to give as many people as possible their chance to be heard, with council and others able to make representation for their point of view. Council appeared unprepared to front this meeting, and by the time anniversary weekend came, the place was pretty much empty. She is certain that council has received a lot of feedback against the bollard, but aren't sharing that information with the Ratepayers Association. And they would like to see all of the correspondence. and that she disagrees that she was tasked with gathering points of view or surveying her community. Her wish was always to have a meeting out at Harhey with the relevant people present. So I'm still fielding emails and phone calls from people out at Harhey. I don't see how that is closed.
Heather has an update for us.
The action schedule, I guess closing it, the action schedule, I think we've discussed this previously, is what our governance team put together based on conversations, and when it's moved on, then it's closed on the action schedule. But this one, I thought it had been closed, so I did check with Derek yesterday. He just gave me a very basic message. He's just been recently tied up with being on leave, the storm response, and he's been in civil defence support. He said the health and safety staff have completed a risk assessment, which he hasn't had time to look through just yet. No bollard has been installed and is unlikely to be for this season, so I think we probably all intuited that anyway. He anticipates that once we have the risk assessment, that we would engage with the ratepayers to work through that assessment together, and as soon as the current sort of situation with civil defence has settled down and Bruce is back from leave, he will relook at that. So I can let Penny know that response as well.
Meeting.
And could I ask, through the chair, Dali, would you mind sharing that email with me so that I have that information?
I'll have to ask Penny's permission.
Of course. Rita?
I wonder if that's facing you.
Okay. I would like to know, staff are preparing a draft policy that will address the standard, this is security cameras. Have we got a time frame around that?
Are you able to speak to that room?
Yeah, through the chair. So that's through Taka Evans, our risk and assurance managers actually doing it because they have to be sort of districtly coordinated.
Yes.
So I'll flick him an email and just find out where that is.
Yeah,
And
I know that it's district wide,
Yeah.
but we've got some real urgency and questions coming to us
Absolutely.
locally. So it would be nice to be able to sort of go back with some timeframes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask, the chair, the proposed security cameras for or strategic areas of the area?
We haven't drilled down to that level. We're waiting for the overarching strategy document, the policy document.
yeah, so it's through the chair as well because it's so lots of different areas have brought their own cameras and then asked the council to take them over or monitor them. And that also comes with a lot of cost and then upgrades and things like that. So it's about just making sure we've got sort of a cohesive policy across the whole district about ownership, how it's being paid for, who monitors and manages it. So that's something that our risk and assurance manager is just working through at the moment. So we won't be taking on any more until we've got that sort of in line.
So that will work into a report that will go to council.
Yes.
Sorry, just one last thing for me. I was told that our members' reports would come back, and I see they haven't.
Not yet.
Not yet, and they are.
They're not sure yet.
We have Ari online. Ari, are you able to speak to that?
Kia ora. Can you guys hear me? As far as I'm aware, it is the chief executive has indicated that we would not be seeing members' reports be on the agenda. I believe that Len has been in discussion with some of the elected members, but I think it's just been that discussions. So at the moment, I would say that, yeah, no members' reports.
Okay. Anything else we get that?
There was some discussion, sorry, through the chair about reporting once the meeting is officially closed.
Yes, so it would be.
Yes, I do believe there was that as a way forward. So that would be more informal.
Yeah,
but you could have public there to hear what, the conversations that have been said. So, yeah, I do think that was another option.
thanks, Ari.
No problem.
Any further information of the action plan? Okay. The Mercury Bay Community Board receives the action schedule report dated the 18th of January 2023. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carried.
Move a seconder.
We already did that. We need to do it again. Did you? Oh, you
Jenna's asked, but she said she didn't hear that.
Oh, we asked her. Okay, anyways, it was, well, can we have a mover and seconder for the action schedule, please?
I'll move.
Got Delly
I'll second.
and John. Okay, so I declare the meeting closed at 11:13 a.m. Thank you all.
Thanks, Chrissy. I'll stop recording now.
Thank you.